something that they brought out during the regular season. It was a potent combo that ended up working out for them against the likes of Vitality, but they could still go for something like the Lucian if they just want a strong AD carry for Rekkles to be performing.
It depends if you want to try and smash that laning phase, if you want to go for the Lucian, or the Garen, which gives you that insane tankiness in the mid-game. Fnatic, they got their hands on the Yuumi, they pick up the Garen now, and this is a combo that could be deadly.
Garen and Yuumi worked for Fnatic. Garen and Yuumi worked for Rogue. So what is G2 going to draft as the answer? There is no ways that happy, smiley G2 on stage hasn't cooked something up in the lab.
Right, I mean, the best thing we've seen into the Garen Yuumi is to attack them inside the laning phase, pick up a strong champion alongside that Pyke, and then have a jungler. Get Jankos and Caps involved in that lane. Just deny this Garen farm, because as a melee champion, you can certainly throw him right under the bus.
Ooh, so we're seeing a lot of top lane hovers, and the Mordekaiser is locked in. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that with G2 eSports, every champion is a flex champion. So while typically we have seen Mordekaiser in the top lane, I'm not so convinced that it'll be played top lane this game.
So you're saying Caps is going to take it mid?
I think PerkZ is going to take it bot with the Pyke.
And tell me why.
I think that the great thing about Mordekaiser's ultimate is that when used against a Garen, it removes Garen from Yuumi, which means that the Garen-Yuumi combo does not become a combo anymore, and it becomes Garen, a terrible champion.
Please, 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 Mord Pyke bottom lane, jump on social media and tell the world that Garen versus Mordekaiser is happening with Fnatic versus G2.
If I'm right.
Once it is locked in. Go tweet to build the hype and then we can watch it later. Let's jump into phase 2. Sejuani, Elise, and Sylas. A lot of junglers being taken from the pool.
Yeah, it's surprised to see here G2 leaving the Lee Sin open. Broxah's best champion during the regular season, but removing a lot of these early game options alongside of it. I think the Lee Sin is something Broxah should be trying to get his hands on, unless G2 just want to steal that one away with, because with all these jungle bans, you have to look more towards the likes of the Skarners of the world, go down a tier inside of that list, and we've actually got a Quinn ban alongside that Sejuani, so Fnatic think there's all sorts of crazy things going on in the G2 camp.
So Lee Sin, not too surprising from the side of G2 eSports. This does give them a little bit more early game power, and I think it synergizes very nicely with the Pyke coming out from G2.
Did we see Quinn into Mordekaiser at some point this year? Wondering if that was a potential target. Regardless, we'll have to see when we chat to the players later. Gangplank has been one of Bwipo's go-to fallback champions. Has played one game this split as well.
And I think that this is a good blind pick here for Bwipo. I really like him on this champion, as well as just throwing Fnatic another global. Now you have the Cannon Barrage, you have the Twisted Fate in the mid lane as well. If we expect G2 to be constantly attacking Fnatic's bottom lane, that 2 versus 2, having those globals at level 6 really limits the ability for G2 to try and set up dives on that bottom lane.
And I do think that one of the things about Fnatic's composition is it provides the opportunity to create a lot of chaos. Ooh, are we going to see this locked in? We're going to see some Nocturne. Very nice from the side of Fnatic. Nocturne did receive some buffs on patch 9.16. I feel like he's been a bit of an underutilized jungler.
Of course,
but we also have the Gnar locked in as well for G2 eSports. Quickshot, I think you know what that means.
Oh my word, Mordekaiser Pyke versus Garen Yuumi. We also have GP into Gnar and Twisted Fate into Akali. I must admit, if Fnatic decide to kill a target, they have a lot of tools to do so.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about it. Endo was saying how once you hit that level 6, Fnatic have the freedom to pretty much move anywhere on the map. And I think that one of the things you always have to be conscious of is when you're going for this Garen Yuumi, naturally, it often struggles in the early laning phase. So you want to have lanes that you can play through during the early stages of play. And I think that when you have a Nocturne, he can actually act as one of your primary carries. You have great setup with the likes of the Twisted Fate to follow up on his ulti, and it actually becomes very easy to attack things like the Akali and like the Gnar in the 2 solo lane.
It's going to be all about, for the side of Fnatic, setting up these fights where they have the numbers advantage. Attack those side lanes, as you mentioned. Make it not an isolated duel. Bring in multiple members. You have the Yuumi to speed up the Garen as well. This team can get on you so quickly. Even though they don't have that hard engage potential, with the speed ups, with the teleports, with that GP ultimate, they have the ability to start off fights.
Now the question is, what happens if they fall behind? What if the mad scientists of G2 make this work? Is there comeback mechanics built in?
in for Fnatic's comp. I think that their scaling is naturally going to be very good because they have the Garen Yuumi. It is very difficult to kill, and later on, they can build the QSS to deal with the Mordekaiser ultimate as well, so that Garen Yuumi force can still be a difficult one to deal with.
All right, well, let's take a look how this works out, ladies and gentlemen. Fnatic versus G2. And welcome to the game. We need to look at these bottom lanes once they set up. The fans in Berlin so far behind Fnatic. And it's G2 that are starting off the play. That ward spotting out the skill shots for now. And obviously, I'm going to take a look at this Mordekaiser, Pyke, as well as Garen, Yuumi. Take a look at the summoner spells as well. Teleports for both bot laners. And the G2 chance erupts.
Oh, so Mordekaiser, Pyke versus Garen, Yuumi. Now, we already talked a little bit about it in the draft, but basically the idea comes down to when Mordekaiser ults Garen, Garen and Yuumi get separated, which means it's now a 1v1 between Mordekaiser and Garen, and a 1v1 between a Pyke and a Yuumi.
That doesn't sound fair.
Yeah, and for the fans at home that may not have played Yuumi, Pyke is quite favored in that 1 versus 1 situation, especially once you hit that level 6 mark. The important thing to remember as well is that both champions in the Mord and the Pyke also just scale into relevancy into the mid and later stages of play, whereas Garen doesn't really. Garen as a champion doesn't offer a lot into the late game. So the fact that you can remove him from this fight and deny this combo of Garen Yuumi is what makes this Mordekaiser Pyke so strong.
I think also when you just look at these champions interacting in the 2 versus 2 in bottom lane, Mordekaiser has a lot of tools of range at his advantage, whether it's to farm from range with his Q, that gives him a little extra, as well as that pullback on the E. You put a Pyke and a Mordekaiser alongside each other, they can actually drag this Garen almost halfway through their lane to set up for those ganks that we sort of expect to see come around here later on.
And what I love as well is even the naming conventions. Death's Grasp into a Bone Skewer and then an Obliterate. That's it. End of story. You've got a dead kitty cat. But as you can see right now, there's the Death's Grasp. That's going to pull Rekkles forward. But with the help of Yuumi, it's actually PerkZ that is coming away worse for wear in the trade.
Now, the bright side for Fnatic's bot lane is that in this early laning phase, Garen's actually allowed to farm. Because you're going up against double melee, there's not going to be this annoying AD carry zoning you away from the CS, which means that you're free to scale up, you're free to survive, and you have a passive that provides you with a lot of safety.
So Jankos hit level 3 now and sneaking up into this top lane. Bwipo with the early push. They want to gank with the Gnar, but it's going to time out.
All right, Gnar will time out. Ooh, the Sonic Wave. Fired very early there from Jankos, and Broxah is now going to make his way up as well, maybe just covering and showing some time.
I think Broxah can actually run in. Actually, one of the really strong things about the Nocturne is his early dueling inside of the enemy jungle with the pressure from Bwipo as well. He's able to smite away that Krug and now really deny Jankos a lot.
Okay, let's take a look at this matchup between Jankos and Broxah. Compare some of their stats that has happened over the course of the split. You know, taking a look at things like their jungle proximity, kills plus assists, Jankos has been one of the players that has really helped elevate G2.
I think Jankos has been a really important player in setting up for a lot of the early game success from G2. You can see that his kills plus assists and goal difference at 15 are exceptionally high. But right behind him is Broxah. He is the guy that makes a lot of the early game action happen for Fnatic. And that's why we wanted to draw attention to both these junglers, because they are the core part of what allowed these teams to do what they do in the early stages of play.
I think the biggest difference when you look at these two players is that Broxah is called to his lane so often when their lanes are in a rough position. This guy is actually going to sacrifice a lot of his experience, which can be crucial when you're trying to farm up to level 6 on a champion like the Nocturne. He sacrifices a lot to make sure his lanes aren't vulnerable to gank. So even when he's not having those pop-up performances, look at him to actually enable his lanes to get off full pushes while setting himself behind, but really trying to get his team into a good position.
Jankos isn't the only one, though. Look at the minimap and notice that Mickey has already roamed down to the mid lane. Something that we often see from both supports. We've seen it throughout the regular season. Mickey and Hylissang, two of our most active supports in terms of looking for plays and looking for ganks. And by going for an early base, picking up a couple of boots for the bot lane, G2 already have the opportunity to get some control around the bot river.
And the really smart thing about the timing of this roam from G2 is that Nemesis is level 5. He's going to take over to level 6 very soon. And if you're thinking about where can Nemesis actually impact on the map, well, level 6, maybe look for a bottom lane play on an overextended Mordekaiser. If you can control vision inside the river around that middle lane, well, Nemesis is all of a sudden going to be very limited in where he can actually go.
And that's exactly what you said in draft, and is that Fnatic need to set up those plays. They've got the Gangplank ulti, they've got the Paranoia, and they've got the Destiny from TF. So a lot of tools available if they have the knowledge, the vision, and the lanes set up in the correct way. This is PerkZ and Mickey starting to move forward, and I'm taking a look at the vision in and around the river. Both G2 and Fnatic, their wards not finding each other just yet.
But the thing to pay attention to here is that these two control wards that are just sitting both here and here for Fnatic. This is going to be the easy route for Nemesis to take if he wants to try and make a roam towards the bot side of the map. But Caps now hitting that level 6 has a little bit more kill threat as Broxah looks for a gank.
All right, there was an engage down bottom. Bwipo's down to 200 HP. He will tag Wunder with the powder keg as well as the parlay. Now here comes Broxah, the unspeakable horror. Will not be able to combine. Wunder gets the Gnar, sends Nemesis under the tower. Now Wunder's 100 HP. Teleport coming down. First blood, Fnatic. Nemesis is going to run for his life. Gold Cord Prime, the obliterate goes wide, and the Gangplank gold is not doing enough just yet. It's going to slow PerkZ where he stands. Broxah gets PerkZ. It's one back for Jankos. Gold Cord again. Wild Card, Fnatic 5-3.
Fnatic with the early fight in the top lane, using the globals to set up that odd numbered fight. G2 bought into it. They bought into the action. They got down and dirty with Fnatic, but Fnatic come out on top.
Beautiful stuff from the early game coming out from Fnatic, and honestly, PerkZ missed everything on this Mordekaiser. He wasn't able to land a single skill shot, and that made it extremely easy for Fnatic to dance around, find kill after kill after kill, and now they sit with a 2,000 gold lead.
It was also a G2 that was reacting to Fnatic, reminding me of the first time these two teams met up at the start of the split, whereas Fnatic, with the early game action, using the globals of the Twisted Fate to be the ones on the offense. Not the G2 that is constantly attacking, but the one that defends is the one that can...
Jankos jumps on top of him. Suddenly we're on the AD. We're like, yeah, you know, classic G2, match Fnatic, blow for blow. They've now snowballed the game out of control, but unfortunately...
But you have a lot of skill shots as Mordekaiser, and in this case, landing them was very, very difficult. But even if you got one kill, you can still argue worth it or not.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your insight. Now, as an update, Nemesis bought 2 Phage items, and afterwards he did activate a corrupting potion in the fountain, which puts the champion into a combat state.
What did I say?
This makes you unable to get a refund for an item. Now, League of Legends officials have determined that this is an intended feature, and we will resume the game. The teams are ready to get back into the game, so let's leave it to our casters.
Thank you very much, Shox. Yes, this is a difficult situation and one that is going to be frustrating for Nemesis. Obviously, he will have the option to play with the second Phage or more likely sell it for something else.
Yeah, and if we're looking at actually the value that he loses off of this, Phage costs 1,250 gold. You sell it for only 875, so that's 375 gold that he has lost off of that play.
So his 2-0-1 effectively becomes a 1-0-1 kill. Obviously, very unfortunate if he chooses to sell it. Right now, he is holding on to it. To be fair, it does make sense. Get your best value for money, like gives you that extra bit of AD and health.
And if we're actually looking at how much gold he only has like 50 in the bank, so he couldn't have finished off a Stinger or a Sheen in favor. So he says, actually, for the value, the best thing to do is to hold on to it and probably sell it once he gets his next reset off.
Well, that seems to be the case. Welcome back to the game. Fnatic versus G2. Jankos looking to kill Nemesis, who does have flash available. He's already landed a gold card. Sonic Wave doesn't find a target. Perfect execution. Sends Caps with one. Over the wall. Broxah finds Caps. The unspeakable horror, as well as the Dustbringer. That gets one, and Jankos gets a second.
So Jankos kicks Nocturne into range of Caps, which actually allows Broxah to get that kill. So a bit of a blunder from Jankos, but still ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of G2 eSports. Immediately after the pause, they find a successful kill. They burn the flash out from Nemesis as well. And this is actually something that Fisher was talking about on the analyst desk, which is TF doesn't have that same safety that a Corki does, which means these gank setups are a lot easier.
Yeah, sets up for this kill right here. He still had the flash, but it's not enough to escape. Then Broxah, who gets punted over the wall by Jankos, can find the kill, but ultimately it's still trading up for G2. And can you just imagine being Nemesis in this situation? Jankos ganks you a second after a 10-minute pause. It's just brutal.
Yeah, it really is. Broxah, on the other hand, is getting a revenge in the top. The fight's not done yet. Rekkles, he's in some trouble down the bottom lane, inside the death realm. Mickey is looking for a kill into Rekkles, but there comes the cat. Throws down the zoomies. Then this time round, the realm of death did not find its target.
So this time you can see the principle behind the strategy. You separate Rekkles away from Hylissang, and PerkZ came very close to finding that kill, but wasn't quite able to land those skill shots. Doesn't find the 1 versus 1, and Mickey wasn't level 6, so he could not secure that execute at the end.
Yeah, you can see there too, it's very pivotal. Mickey needs to not have minions in his way to be able to land those skill shots. It's actually very hard to lock up this Yuumi without landing the Bone Skewer first from Mickey, so gonna be looking at these trades a little more critically in the future.
All right, we're approaching 10 minutes. Jankos and Mickey going to be starting off the Dragon. 2,000 gold is Fnatic's lead. Destiny is available. If you look at the minimap, Broxah is near the pit, but he's got no paranoia. Teleport is coming down. It's Bwipo that throws in the cannon barrage. 1,200 hit points. Smite is going to be close. Yes, secured. Gold card from Nemesis. Jankos is the first target. Now Nemesis gets the help of Yuumi. Jankos is running for his life. No flash available. Dash back from Caps. Trying to buy time. Caps goes back in. Dashes back out. My word, nobody can stop this man. Mickey throws down the damage on the Nemesis. Not enough to kill him. Swimming for his life. Gets caught out and feared. Dashes over the wall. These fights need a second play-by-play.
I can't believe G2 actually got out of that one. Fnatic put so much into that play. The global from Nemesis. Bwipo walking all the way over, a teleport from Rekkles as well. They threw everything in, but they lost to the Drake. They couldn't get a kill. And in the meantime, Wunder picked up multiple plates in the top lane.
But what I love is that Fnatic is going toe-to-toe with G2 in the early game. They're not just sitting back and allowing G2 to play their game. They're fighting them. They're skirmishing them. They're saying, you know what? The moment our ultimates are available, we need to go for a play, and we see it top lane. Broxah, now level 8 on the Nocturne, matching the same level of his 2 solo laners. Already the Warrior enchant complete. This Nocturne is in a great position only 10 minutes into the game.
Okay, Bwipo's in some trouble here. Wunder has got a 15 CS lead and still working towards his ulti. But look at the minimap, Broxah is making his way out.
Yeah, hard to make this play. No ults on G2's top or jungle right here, so actually locking down Bwipo going to be very hard, especially with that flash returning quite soon. The 2v2 could look good here for Fnatic.
Well, let's see what happens. Broxah clears out the one, instantly leaves. Jankos is still sticking around, waiting for the play. Bwipo's flash will become available in just a few
Oh no, the Dragon's Rage
seconds.
back up.
But here comes the Mega Gnar, the Dragon's Rage as well. Does Wunder look for the hop and not just yet?
Oh man, Jankos literally in that bush waiting the full time for that play to work. Now bot lane going for a bit of a trade.
Death Cross, I'm looking at the Realm of Death, not thrown yet. Every time I see that Death Cross land, I hold my breath in case they go in. But I think with that Death from below and Ignite, it's a wait.
Yeah, waiting for those cooldowns, but as we take stock of this map, well, yes, Fnatic are the ones usually playing on the aggressive, and yes, they have a gold lead right now. CS in both top and mid lane are struggling at the moment because of the time that both those soul laners from Fnatic have spent around this map.
Broxah,
one more time.
Okay, Lost Chapter goes up. PerkZ gets a pretty big shield for now. Paranoia comes in. That's already a kill. Demacian justice for Fnatic. Caps will try to look for something on the way out, but in a 1 versus 3, I'm not sure that's going...
Continuing to bring into the top lane right now. But I'm curious to see how that pans out later in the series we do get. Those are some three pretty good reasons, I feel like, if they were to be all true, if you wanted to try and give Fnatic a victory right here.
Oh, we are back in
We did it.
game. So, that's a little bit of a surprise to me. I will get an update on the situation and why we have resumed. Jankos this time round. There's a little stutter step in the mid lane. And welcome back, as we've said several times. Fnatic are doing very well.
yes, they certainly are. As we see Fnatic sitting on about 2.4k gold lead. Wunder going for a bit of a 1v1 against Bwipo, who has no flash right now.
Look at that top gap. Bwipo able to survive. Gonna use the powder keg. as the fans here in Berlin are getting behind Fnatic.
Okay, so look at this. Nemesis does have his ultimate up, but G2 want to try and fight for this red buff. But there are 4 members towards the bot side of the map right now, and Bwipo's TP is going to come up. So there is a big risk of G2 trying to force this play.
But Caps has already moved over here, so Mickey has this big flank and get the hook.
All right, Broxah gets tagged, uses the spell shield. Broxah is trying to run for his life, no paranoia. I think he gets the red buff. Before somebody's about to kill him, who will it be? Sidestepped so much, and he ends up going to Mickey.
It was just a really smart play there from G2. They knew Nemesis would reset, so they pulled Caps over, now on towards Nemi.
All right, death from below, good flash from Nemesis. Gets out of range of that bone skewer, and G2 find the kill.
This is how G2 are going to try to get back into this game. They're down on global, so attack Fnatic when they don't have those. Live inside of Fnatic's jungle and use Mickey. Roam him around the map with Jankos. That's how they can get back.
So, G2, we talked about how their composition is great at finding skirmishes and going for fights. So far in the very early game, they haven't been succeeding in those, but now that these level 6 marks are coming out and the mobility boots have been done for Mickey, we're seeing a lot more involvement of the jungle support, and we may see another setup top lane gang.
Oh, we will. Jankos finally finds a sonic wave into a fantastic flash kick, or kick flash rather. Bwipo's now getting away. He manages to escape for now. The paranoia's bought so much time, but Claps shows up, picks up a kill into Bwipo. Now Wunder looks for the stun. Nemesis sidesteps it yet again. The wildcards fly wide. Nemesis gets another. Wunder goes for the crash over the wall. Nemesis is chasing, trying to run down Gnar. Boomerang Blade will buy some time as the gold card times out. While that's happening, Rekkles lands some justice onto Mickey.
Fnatic just smashed G2 across the map. It's G2 on offense, but Fnatic with the globals show up to fight G2 3v3 in the top side, while Rekkles and Hilly smash PerkZ and Mickey in the 2v2.
Love the confidence from Fnatic. The fact that once again, they are matching G2 eSports in a lot of these fights, a lot of these skirmishes, and Fnatic are the ones coming out on top.
Oh man, I really need to give this update. So there was a pause a few seconds ago. Mickey paused, reporting he did not hear or see Broxah's ultimate, the Nocturne ultimate. He reported to League officials he believes this was a bug. Now, League officials confirmed that after reviewing the shadow play footage, there was a visual and audio cue, but it was missed by Mickey as he was in Pyke's stealth, which looks very similar on screen. Now we get back to the action of G2 trying to collapse and being punished.
Yeah, and the start of the play is really nice here, but see Bwipo escape here with the bonus move speed of the Stride. Yes, Caps can chase him down, but Caps spending all that time to follow on towards Bwipo means Nemesis can stay alive. Nemesis, with another fantastic sidestep, is able to get the shutdown onto Akali and almost use the Phage movement speed to chase down for next kill. Meanwhile, bottom lane, it doesn't matter if you isolate one player, it just looks like they ran him down and dunked on him.
And this is what we're going to be seeing more and more from the Garen later on. The great thing about Garen Yuumi and why it is considered such a strong duo is because that front line of Garen becomes impossible to deal with, and the poke from Yuumi is impossible to escape from. So if either one of them land on top of you, there's no escape.
Yeah, the other huge factor coming into this bottom lane that we didn't get to dive into earlier is the support items. That's where all the gold income is coming from the side of Fnatic. We look at this, 843 bonus gold gained from Rekkles, 1,094 from Hylissang. And remember, he's also getting the gold from the Targons that Rekkles picked up. Meanwhile, Pyke has gotten 580. That is a massive difference.
Yeah, it really, really is. And it's why you can see Rekkles and Hilly doing so well. 201, 003. Now Fnatic pick up their Ocean Drake of their own. Sonic Wave found its target. Rift Herald was used in the mid lane. And G2, they've grouped up and stacked. Fnatic have got ultimates available if they want to fight. Rekkles is stepping forward, looking for Caps. You can see he's set himself a target. 5v5 in the mid lane. G2 have already secured 2 towers, and the pace of this game is breakneck right now.
It's getting really, really fast, and with Fnatic grouping up as 5 members, you can only expect to see them try to go faster and faster. But remember, what works best for Fnatic is attacking these side lanes. Be aware and be prepared if you are G2, because now we get into a weird situation for G2, who actually goes mid. No one can step up to clear the waves.
Ooh. Caps gets tagged by a prowling projectile. I was waiting to see if anything else happened. Nemesis Destiny didn't work out.
But this is the weakness of G2 playing from behind. How do you clear waves? You just can't.
Oh, no, you can't. Caps actually gets forced all the way back, but Broxah takes out Mickey, standing inside the shroud. Caps is trying to buy some time. Wunder comes in from the teleport. He's looking for Gnar. Here comes Jankos. Gets a kick back. It's a double cost, though. Jankos manages to pick up the kill into Bwipo. Demacia Justice comes down for Rekkles. It's a 1 for 3, and they're not done yet. Wunder throws a house at Fnatic. Not got the Gnar just yet, and he doesn't have support either.
Wunder just couldn't get into the Gnar fast enough. Fnatic were grouped up 5 members around a wall, but he was unable to do anything in this match. Fnatic just ran down G2. They pick up so many kills and the tower on top.
And the biggest misplays come from Caps and Mickey trying to re-engage that. Huge blunder from them allowed Fnatic to make this play happen, and we can see Caps uses his ultimate to actually close the gap between him and Bwipo, making it easy for the Yuumi to land that ultimate. Then the rest of Fnatic are throwing their ultimates at Mickey, who is still only a squishy Pyke and can be easily one-shot, and then it ends up being a 2 versus 5, which, yes, Jankos is able to find that one last kill, but at the end of the day, Fnatic are punishing these blunders from the side of G2, and it is very reminiscent of what we saw from the first time that they met. Fnatic utilizing their lead and constantly going on the offensive against G2.
We know whenever Fnatic and G2 face off against each other, it is going to be a fast game. These guys put it all out on the table early on. Fnatic have the lead so far, 4,000, and if they're able to continue to play around their pressure and not allow G2 to get under their skin, Fnatic should be able to try and press this and push it further and further ahead.
And one of the people who's been influential of that Nemesis, 8,000 gold earned. Reminder that he had that Phage issue earlier in the game, but he's playing a signature pick. His all-time Twisted Fate stats, 4 wins, 2 losses, correction, just for the summer split. 6.6 KDA, very good damage per minute. And right now he's seeing 3, 1, and 5, got Wit's End and Trinity Force completed. And I've been very impressed with just the individual play that Nemesis has had this game. Sidestepping skill shots, consistently landing the right gold cards, and importantly for me, teaming up with the rest of the team to pressure other lanes.
So again, look at side lanes. You've always got to be careful with Fnatic because of how easy it is for them to collapse, which means that G2 are almost always forced to group, or you have to have Jankos shadow one of these side lanes, which is what he's doing right now for Caps. But even then, 2 versus what? 4 members that have the potential to arrive in this lane in an instant. I feel like Fnatic, if G2 were ever split apart, should always be in a position of power.
Yeah, take a look at the itemization as well. Trinity Force completed for Bwipo and Nemesis. I mentioned the Wit's End already. Black Cleaver for Rekkles and Wunder. Gunblade sitting on Caps. Rylise for PerkZ, and the gold difference has grown to 4,000 as we approach the 20-minute mark. Next Dragon is a Mountain. Baron's going to become a consideration. And Fnatic right now, they've got G2 running scared.
Yeah, Fnatic in a wonderful position here because the next big thing for Fnatic is the Mountain. In 1 minute, Fnatic should look to pick this up because having the Mountain unlocks the Baron for you. If you're able to take that down with the bonus damage of the Mountain Drake, all of a sudden it becomes much easier to set that thing up. And because you have a champion like the Garen, it's so easy to start it up, bait G2 into a fight against you, turn, kill them, and then win the game.
Well, let's see, because G2 have only been behind in gold at 20 minutes 3 times this split. Does anybody remember how many games G2 lost in the summer split? All 3 games. So let's see if they can find a way back into it. But it feels like Fnatic have got the recipe for success here. Nemesis will find himself under some pressure. If Jankos can find a Sonic Wave, he's going to ward dash. This time around, the gold card was too early. Jankos looking for the kill. Not enough damage. And it looks like he escapes. Yes! All of a sudden, though, Bwipo completes the teleport. He's jumping in to help his friends because Fnatic are arriving. Prowling projectile won't find his target just yet. Jankos running for his life as PerkZ is the next target. He's managed to throw somebody into the realm of death. But here comes Caps. The realm of death will time out. PerkZ splashes over the wall. Rekkles gets himself a kill. Demacia Justice is still available if he can find a target. Jankos unable to complete the recall. Demacia Justice again. Rekkles 5-0-3. Now Wunder's arriving. He's going to get tagged by the projectile, and the rest of G2 escape.
And every fight that G2 start, Fnatic finish with a kill advantage. Now they're going to convert it into another objective, and it feels like this game is going further and further out of G2's control. Fnatic drafted the globals. They're utilizing them perfectly, and they are shutting down G2 20 minutes into the game.
G2 just don't have options anymore. They can't sit idly by and let Fnatic own the map against them. They can't defend against any siege, but they also can't attack anyone in a side lane because, yes, Jankos starts us off, but the second the Dragon's Rage kick goes down, Nemesis can port out. There's no threat of CC, and then the follow-up comes from Fnatic. Bwipo TP's on the flank with the Cannon Barrage to slow them down, and then the whole crew gets involved.
So notice here how the ultimate comes out from Mordekaiser to lock the Nocturne into the realm of death, but Nocturne's actually quite comfortable in this 1v1. Has a level advantage over PerkZ, uses the stopwatch as well to avoid the execution from Caps, and then flashes out of the way of Mickey's ultimate. Great performance there from Broxah, and in the end, it wasn't enough to walk away with his life, but he bought enough time to allow his team to find the win.
Well, Bwipo and Nemesis going to be working on Caps. Now, gold card flash, wild cards! Nemesis 4, 1, and 5. Top gap looking for Craps. And 16-7, the gold lead continues. This will be the third tower. A Mountain Drake secured. The last chapter, the fans in Berlin chanting Fnatic, and Broxah flies in for the style points. Fnatic aren't done yet, they're sieging inside.
Fnatic are dominating G2 right now, and Nemesis is having a phenomenal game, continuing to attack G2 time and time again. Fnatic will not slow down. Jankos goes in.
Yes, he does. Dragon's Rage was caught by the spell shield. Yes, Wunder gets one back, but the gold card comes out. 1100 HP to burn through, 500 HP to burn through. A crunch to escape. Here comes Rekkles with the help of a cat, with a kitty cat, and PerkZ binds one with an obliterate. Now PerkZ is running for his life. Wunder throws out the house. Demacian Justice is on cooldown, so we won't be able to get more.
One by one, they're just going in.
He's teleported in.
But can he actually do anything here? They're so tanky. The gold card comes out. He must wait for it.
Oh, gets a lot of damage down, but the gold card still tags him. Flies all the way to the
Wunder
back
TP.
line. No flash available. Teleport's coming in.
Wunder needs to come in on this flank. He doesn't have Mega Gnar though, so Fnatic, they're trying to turn it right back around onto Mickey.
Oh my word, Captain's in trouble. He's going to get caught up by the ultimate. Hilly gets the kill. 1, 0, and 9. It's 20 kills to Fnatic.
One by one, G2 go in. One by one, they fall to Fnatic. They are obliterating G2 just like they did in week 3, and it feels like G2 have no answers. Beautiful performance right now in this first game, this best of 5 between these two teams.
It's the difficulty we sometimes see with G2 compositions. They're so good at beating you in the early game. They pick comps so good at closing out against you, but here they just don't have the fallback mechanics to keep themselves in the game.
Oh.
The instant spell shield from Broxah is super clean. He does fall down in the end right here, but then Fnatic, they can turn it around. The only difference is PerkZ putting Bwipo in the death realm. He likes his chances in the 1v1, but the second it becomes a 1v3, it is a much different story for the G2 bot laner.
And we talked about the drafts, and we talked about how for G2's comp, it's a little harder to execute, how it's not as straightforward as Fnatic's is, and you can see that when falling at this deficit, how much easier it is for Fnatic to collapse as a group, how much easier it is for them to siege and create these opportunities, whereas G2, they can't find these skirmishes anymore because every time they try, this happens.
Oh my word, Nemesis is unstoppable. 7-1-6. Mickey 1-5-1. The rest of Fnatic are now sieging. Wunder's coming in, but he does have the ultimate available. Gold card will tag Jankos. Caps looks in, so does Jankos as well. The fight breaks down. Jankos is already dead. Now Wunder is being shown down. Hilly and Nemesis, they're double teaming. PerkZ will be able to help find a kill into Broxah.
And Fnatic are just going to keep running G2 down. The gold cards from above, the Garen from below. Fnatic are inside the G2 base, and they will not stop.
Who knew that Rekkles' best champion is Garen? The inhibitor's now going to go down. 7-0-7 into the fan in the audience with spin to win. That guy gets it. Fnatic have broken the base. They've got a 10,500 gold lead. They've got themselves a Baron to play around if they want to, or they can just keep pushing.
Oh, Nemesis finds another stun. They can look. No, they're not going to look for it this time. They're just going to look to disengage. They have to be careful because if they overstay on the map, then there is the risk of G2 going for a Baron. But then again, Rekkles' regeneration, the heals that Bwipo has from his oranges means that Fnatic should still be in a healthy spot. And you can see that they're taking their time with their resets. But I wanted to talk about how Fnatic's ability to dive is just so strong with the composition that they've drafted for themselves. We talked in the draft about how Early game, we wanted to see Broxah play around his 2 solo laners. They did that beautifully. We saw a lot of ultimates thrown up towards the top side of the map, and all Rekkles and Hylissang needed to do was get out of laning phase. Because PerkZ invested that early TP top, that's where things started to fall apart for the PerkZ Mickey duo, and we haven't seen the theory behind this Mordekaiser Pyke come to fruition.
Paranoia comes out with the help of a book. All right, PerkZ does go golden with a little bit of stopwatch help. But Nemesis is dominating. 8-1-8, rapid fire cannon for some long-range gold card action. Prowling projectile, plus that rapid fire gold card.
Look at him go!
The targets are gonna get picked from forever away. 8-0-8 for Rekkles, and G2, they are absolutely crushed in game 1 against Fnatic.
There's another minion wave here for Fnatic. They don't even need the Baron. They're waltzing into the G2 base. 3 members of G2 look onward. They can't do anything. Fnatic will destroy them.
Caps is trying to find a kill onto Bwipo, but it's Rekkles that's running him down. Demacian Justice is on cooldown, so he can't get that long-range kill. Mickey's trying to get some heal up as Nemesis again with the long-range gold card. It doesn't matter. The Nexus is the focus, and Fnatic make a statement in game 1.
27 minutes and 37 seconds. We talked about how whenever these 2 teams play, it is explosive, and we saw it once again today. I really liked what Fnatic prepared coming into game 1. They utilized the strengths of the Twisted Fate and Gangplank, reliable picks that they've utilized throughout the split. They introduced the Nocturne to give them a very powerful level 6 point, and they weren't slow. They didn't waste time. You said it, Quickshot. Every time an ultimate was off cooldown, it was used somewhere. And G2's comp never had an opportunity to do anything. They tried to react to the skirmishes, they tried to react to the fights, and every time, they were the ones that fell apart.
I can't keep my eyes off the players' faces. During draft, G2 were jovial and happy. When Yuumi was locked in, it was clear that G2 had a plan. They anticipated the Garen, they tried the Mord. Now, I don't really think the drafts was cause of it. I think Fnatic made this win happen by such fantastic proactive play.
I think when we look at the draft from G2, though, you see that they have limited options, right?
Yeah.
And something we talked about was if they do fall up behind in the early game, how do they get back? And what we saw was they didn't have an option to get back. And I think that Fnatic executed their comp extremely well because they found that early lead and they did not relent on the pressure. They continued to look for picks, attack side lanes, and then when the Garen was tanky enough, they just kept running it down mid because that's all you needed to do. You just dive after dive after dive after dive. And I'd like to see adaptation from G2 to give them more options in the early game moving into game 2.
Right, because G2 need different and they need better answers. It's clear that with the Pyke, you must get kills in this lane if you're going to make it work. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Against the Twisted Fate 2, I think you just need to take that away from Nemesis.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Pick and ban's going to be so interesting. I can see Broxah on screen right now. I tried to train that man. No Infernals this game. Small aside. For more on game 1, let's head to the analyst desk.
Quickshot, I love that. Yeah, you just had to mention that. There you go. Well, if we look at all the predictions and all the expectations, this is a huge upset coming into game 1. Fnatic absolutely sweeping G2 eSports, not giving them a chance in hell. I do have good news for G2 eSports. The most deaths they suffered in a single game in summer was 27. Here, they only died 25 times. So it's not all bad.
Got him.
Basically a win.
Basically a win. No, absolutely not. Well, they suffered a horrible loss, and Fnatic played out of their minds. Let's take a look immediately at some replays who were started off by Broxah, mainly. He had a fantastic game, but it seems like everyone had a great game on the side of Fnatic.
Right, but there's a lot of jungle bans, and we were kind of wondering in the second phase, what is he going to play with all these common picks being removed? The Nocturne, while it is risky pre-6, in case you obviously can't really help your team, he actually managed to start this gank at level 5. There was no pressure coming in from G2 before this, and then this is the one we talked about during the pause as well. PerkZ TPing in, it's very greedy, it's up backfiring even more. So now you got 3 kills. Broxah got his level 6, he did not get punished early. And with this like global composition, despite Caps getting a kill on Nemesis, Fnatic have so many tools to just keep forcing these big global plays.
I have a feeling that this might be the same strategy that we see from Fnatic repeatedly. And if these semi-global and global ultimates start being taken away from them, then they will find them in other answers. Fnatic were one of our first teams that went to the Shin, especially in the Shin Aatrox matchup, so we know that they also have that up their sleeves. But I love this adaptation, and against a team like G2, It works so well. You know that they're going to fight all the time. Make sure that you have the necessary tools to get to the fight and make it an unfair numbers advantage.
They're going to fight a lot. And then also, as you said in the pregame, Frosk, G2 are super good at, when they have a push in the lane, understanding, should we try and kill someone here, or should we leave the lane and go apply pressure somewhere else? And suddenly you feel like you're just getting pushed back everywhere, and they're always going to show up first. And even when they had moments where they did that, they were like, oh, we are 3 versus 1 against the GP now on top side. It didn't matter because Nocturne ulti, TF ulti, there were enough globals, plus a TP on Garen who Yuumi can sit onto. There's enough people who can show up from very far away that it actually nullifies that advantage that you don't normally have by understanding when to move from the lanes.
So just get more mobility? Is it as easy as that?
Oh, no. You got to fix a lot more on G2 side.
No. To beat G2, have we just seen all you need is more mobility?
It's a great answer, at least.
I want to say this. The best that I want for this best of 5 is I want both teams to play well, one team to play better. Take away nothing from Fnatic. They played very well. Very cool composition. The execution was cool. G2 made a lot of uncharacteristic mechanical mistakes. There were a lot of missed skill shots that game that you don't normally see. So that game, I don't feel like that was G2's best performance. Hopefully they ramp it up because I want to see these Titans really hit each other.
It's also important to say, like, you can't just draft this every game and then, you know, it's going to be as successful. I think the Yuumi Garen ended up doing a lot more. This was actually the moment I mentioned before where it is G2 moving, using lane advantage to get a collapse onto someone. Normally this always gives them a kill, but against this comp with the Nocturne and TF, who did not get punished hard enough early, that's the key thing we have to highlight. This composition for Fnatic, obviously, is not super strong pre-6, but after it is amazing, and that's when they can start doing these things left and right. And in this one, I think that put more pressure on G2 than they wanted to. You know, it wasn't just the globals they had to deal with. They had a Yuumi Garen, and they never got a real 2v2 against them, and they started falling behind.
Yeah,
so now that just became impossible to deal with.
Now, the big headline of the pick and ban was, of course, hey, they let them have the Garen and the Yuumi, and they have an answer in the Pyke and the Mordekaiser. So what's the verdict? Or was it hard to see because they were just snowballed upon so hard?
So these are the two options that you have. You can run it back, give them the Garen Yuumi, and be like, okay, this time around we won't take Pyke Mordekaiser. We can take a more traditional counter to it. Maybe you grab something like the Nautilus, maybe you grab something like the Volley Bear, whatever it happens to be, and try your luck again, or you are forced to ban it on red side. You don't have the answer for it. I don't know what G2 are going to pick. I think that if they had won with this draft, then it almost becomes impossible for Fnatic just because they have one of their core weapons of that Yuumi Garen combo that they have taken away from them.
G2 chose red.
So I think G2 will ban the Yuumi instead of Corki in this one. Just not to be forced into having to do this counter pick into Yuumi Garen. That they tried out in this one. I think in the best of 5, trying this is perfectly fine. You know, as Frost said, if this worked, then Fnatic just ran probably one of the most standard comps they can actually run and got beaten.
Exactly, and I think, you know, I agree with you. If this is a best of 5 and you know you're G2, you have a lot up your sleeve, you're allowed to try this. And that's not what kind of worries me for G2 today. It is more what Frost came up with, the fact that we saw individual players playing much below their level. And again, this is not to take anything away from Fnatic, who played phenomenally as well, but you need to clean that up, and you need to clean it up right now because Fnatic got that first win and they want more.
And Fnatic show again that mechanically they can match G2.
Yep.
That's why they're 2-2 in the regular season. That's why a lot of people are so excited for this series.
Let's look at some more highlights. It's all Fnatic all day. The Garen Yuumi, which was countered? No, not really. Here, Rekkles is having a field day.
We could talk more at length about why Garen and Yuumi is so strong. We've seen it a couple times in the LEC, but the idea is that, like, Garen is a piece of toast, okay? And normally you don't just show up... A piece of toast. And normally you don't just show up for the toast. It's about what goes on the toast. Whether you're like a cheese person, you're a jam person, you love that chocolatey spread. Yuumi is whatever that is.
Unless you're Vedius, you just eat the toast.
Unless you're Vedius and you just eat... Yeah, he would just be a Garen player. So the thing is that Garen is the delivery service for the goodness of Yuumi. And without Yuumi, he's just a Garen. Not even G2 can carry that. But with Yuumi, you can get Rekkles an MVP on Garen, if
there
you will.
we go. And next, the Rekkles was also Nemesis in the mid lane. We talked a lot about this mid lane matchup and Caps who can make gold out of nothing, right? Out of being behind, he can still make the plays, but when you have Nemesis on his favorite champion and his best champion, that works in the system, that's not easy to play against either.
This is exactly what we talked about in the pregame, how in the Nemesis versus Caps, you're going to have Caps trying to play Assassins where he can carry the game on his own. You're going to have Nemesis being on champions that can push and then make plays with the team. That's what he just did there on TF. His Corki was banned away. That's been the other big one for him. So I think Nemesis gets to show in the first game that he added more value to his team by having this TF. I still think Caps was the one answer G2 had, and he did get a couple of kills early, but then the game just completely snowballed out of control. So happy with the mid lane matchup in game 1.
Happy with the mid lane matchup. A lot to take away from this match. A lot of new things in draft and things that G2 tried, and Fnatic snowballing the game. So how do you now think the rest of this series is going to go? And it's so difficult because you don't want to take anything away from Fnatic. But you know it's still a G2 that was #1 in the regular season and has lost games like this before.
I mean, good news for Fnatic fans. You're a game up. You didn't show anything. You ran an exact same composition. Maybe the Nocturne pick is kind of the change up there.
Could be banned in second phase, true.
Could be banned, but otherwise, Fnatic fans, 1 game up, didn't show anything, feel great. G2, probably going to go standard, or at least more standard than they do with the last game. And if you lose there, then it's kind of crisis mode.
Yeah, I mean, no panic yet. I'm just enjoying the fact we don't get a 3-0.
Oh, me too.
And that you and I both
are still
had
in the
Fnatic winning
prediction
a game.
game.
So
we could still get a 3-0. It just might be what
that's true. That's true. But that would be an insane 3-0 if that happens. I would also celebrate that.
Yeah, I'm already happy with what we got, and it's only the first game. And Fnatic, they're on their way towards the LEC finals, one step closer. But G2 might have some more tricks up their sleeves. We'll see you after.